All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I am so excited to be here this evening. It's another episode of Founders Focus, where I get an opportunity to highlight some of our new entrepreneurs in Charlotte that are currently cohort members of the Boost Pad. And I'm super excited to be bringing to you this evening three more entrepreneurs. As you can remember, a month ago, we brought you four. Today, we have three more amazing entrepreneurs that are part of the Boost Pad Cohort 8. And we are so excited to have them with us. But before I bring them on, if you are watching me for the first time and somebody send you this video, or you have never seen me on Facebook Live or anywhere on the internet, let me introduce myself. I'm Joan T. Randall. I am the founder of Victorious You Press, and I help career professionals, entrepreneurs, and destiny leaders to write and publish their best-selling book so that they can monetize their impact, build a business, and create legacies. And I'm also the co-executive director of the Boost Pad. And at the Boost Pad, we assist entrepreneurs to get all of the basic fundamentals that they need to start their business, to build on it, and to scale. So I'm excited to be here again with you, and I look forward to this dynamic conversation that we will have with these entrepreneurs. All right, so at this point in time, as you come on the stream, I'm going to ask you to drop your name in the chat and let me know where you are streaming from. All right. So I'm going to bring my entrepreneurs on the stage, and so that we can have this amazing conversation. Hi, Artia.
Hi.
Hey, Mr. Brewington. And hey, Chef Chloe. We are so happy to have you. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you have an opportunity to share this broadcast to your page as well. So I think at the top right-hand corner of your screen, you should see something that says share to page. You could do that. And so people on your page will be able to see this broadcast. So, all right, let us get into the conversation. First of all, how are you guys doing?
I'm great. I hope everybody else is too.
Well,
all right. I love it. I love it. So I want to start with our very first question this evening. And it is, I'm going to start with Artia first. Artia, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Well, first off, thank you for picking me first. Usually I'm last because my name starts with last name starts with the W. So I'm usually the caboose of the line in school. But my name is Artia Wright. I always tell people, I'm really just a regular girl with South Carolina roots, born and raised right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. From 8 to 9, I'm a software engineer. And in that same time frame, I'm also still the founder of TechTrap CLT. I would say that was something that kind of found its way to me probably about, even though I launched it this year, I would say it found its way to me about 10 years ago. When I just made a decision, after dropping out of college in that year, that I just wasn't going to let anybody tell me what I couldn't do, right? Even myself, right? So whether that was from a lack of credentials or whatever it may be, I always just saw myself capable of doing pretty much anything with the right combination of resources, support, mentorship, etc. And so now, fast forward, I've used that same boldness and that same audacity, if you will, to kind of break into the tech space. And so now I've been using my time to equip my peers and everyone else with that same boldness and audacity to see themselves into emerging technologies and high tech, which if you heard anything about AI, it's changing everybody's lives. So I think it's important that I am a part of the movement that I know is coming to ensure that everybody is a part of this new tech space and tech world. And so I'm pushing myself and my peers to do that as well.
That's great. That's great. Mr. Genford, what about you?
Sure. I'm Genford Brewington. I am the owner of Full Circle Laundry. Um, I am originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm a member of the Cohort tribe from Eastern North Carolina. I've been living in Charlotte for about 9 years now. Basically, my wife and I, a few years back, were using some laundry services, and we felt like we were not getting the quality of service that we wanted. And the more that we talked to our friends who also use these laundry services, they're telling us the same stories about problems that they had and issues they had with service and quality. And we just thought we could do better. So that was kind of how Full Circle Laundry was born. We're serving the greater Charlotte area, and we help working professionals and also businesses in the service industry to with their laundry needs, and we help them to kind of reclaim and maximize their time and their resources, um, whether it's having us do their laundry so that their paid staff aren't having to use time to do it, or you know, to save them that time that they could be applying to something else. That's where we fit in as Full Circle.
All right. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Chef Chloe. Come on, girl. Tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Hey, so my name is Canisha Terry, but I do business as Chef Chloe. My business name is A Taste of My 30s. What made me start cooking? As a little kid, my mother was a working woman, so you kind of learn the 350 method and you check the food. Um, and my aunties inspired me. So what made me start cooking was during the pandemic, a lot of people were like kind of shut down. We couldn't really do much. So I had a lot of time on my hands, and some of my friends was like, hey, let's get together. We need somebody to cook for us. And I was always a friend who cooks. So on a larger scale, I ended up like taking my business a little bit more serious. I've done the culinary arts. I've done the working in the restaurants, the line cooks and so forth. So I just kind of like took it like full throttle, and just started helping people out that wanted to make memorable times with their loved ones during the COVID season. I call it a season because I felt like it was a season. So I just took it a little bit more seriously, and I kind of like went full throttle, like staying consistent, I would say, at the beginning of this year. So
Okay.
that's my story.
I love it. I love it. All right. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, you have an opportunity to share this to your platform. So, hit the share button. And if anybody is watching, we are going to ask you to share this broadcast out as well, because we do want people to be able to see these entrepreneurs, because there's some service, I promise you, that they have that you may need. All right. So, why did you guys decided that this was Chef Chloe? You kind of talk a little bit about that, but why did you decide that this was the right business for you? What was that thing that made you say, you know what, this is it for me, and I want to hang my hat on this thing, and I want to see how far I can go with this? And I'm going to start with Artia.
Oh, okay. So I actually want to go back to something that Chef Chloe mentioned in her introduction, which I thought was beautifully put, because a lot of people during the pandemic found ways to interact with each other, even though we were shut down. But not only that, a lot of people found ways or opportunities to upskill and to actually get into different industries. And so for the people who decided to do that, I was one of them. You know, for me personally, tech wasn't something that I seen a lot of people who looked like me in. And so it is sad to say that, at some point I didn't actually think that, I would be in tech because of that. But when the opportunity presented itself during the pandemic, I went through one of like a technical boot camp called Road to Hire. Um, and I'm like, you know what? Even though I haven't seen anybody that looked like me in this space, hey, you know what? We're going to do it. Let's just give it a shot. And so, I spent a lot of time self-teaching and using my resources and my peers, and also that wonderful program to bridge myself into a space that, I've always been fascinated in. I'm a 90s baby, so tech was all through everything that I did, from like the first little Apple computers in elementary school, now all the way to artificial intelligence. But one of the things that I would say that kind of pushed me into this space to now say, okay, we've broken into tech, but now we need to focus on breaking into high tech and emerging technologies, is also just listening to my peers, paying attention to the things that are kind of shifting in the world, right? When you think about how the internet got started and how kind of taboo that experience was, and how many companies kind of bridged and kind of grew out of that. For me, the way things are going right now, I kind of see that same pattern. And I think that it's important, just like it was important then, to make sure that we have a diverse set of perspectives that are essentially going to play a really big part in how we learn, how we interact with each other, and how we work. And so I think that for me, I definitely want to be a part of making sure that that space is as inclusive as I think that it should be, and helping my peers and everyone else kind of turn their eyes around a little bit and be like, okay, yeah, I should probably focus on being a part of that and contributing to that space.
Yeah. You know what is so funny that you say that, you say you're a 90s baby and you grew up with all of this tech stuff, and that is true. So this for you is so seamless, right? It's like, oh, this is just second nature. But I want to let you know that I was born in the 60s, but I'm right there with you, okay? You are not leaving me. I am stuck to all you young people and this tech stuff, right? So I'm right there with you, because technology, it's the new age, it's the new world. And as I always tell my daughters, I will not get caught in the divide. I am not falling down into that divide. I'm right there. And so I'm inquisitive enough, and as a business owner, to be able to say, all right, what's next? I'm in it. What's next? I'm in there. Is it TikTok? I'm there. Is it this? I'm there. So I'm on every platform. Do I use them all the time? Absolutely not. But I am going to make my presence known on each of these platforms, because it is what is happening, right? It is the shift. And as business owners, you got to shift with a shift, right? That's what I feel. So same question to Mr. Brewington. You talked a little bit about you and your wife not being able to get the service that you desire when you have a cleaning service. What did you want to accomplish with going out on your own? What was the difference? How did you stand out? What makes you different? Knowing that you saw a void and you fill that void. So what is it that makes you different now from the other places that you couldn't get the right service from?
Sure. I should point out, probably kind of similar to Artea's story. My background was not in laundry before we started this.
Right.
Prior to COVID, I was a Japanese translator and interpreter, and I worked in like logistics and customer service as well. Very different world. But being a translator interpreter, it taught me about the importance of communication, and the work that I did in customer service and in logistics taught me about the importance of providing the utmost quality and the most important service, and how to interact with customers. You have to let them know how important they are and show them the respect that they deserve as customers, and that you care. That's the impetus or the motivation behind Full Circle. We want to provide that quality that we didn't find. Laundry, we all do laundry, right?
Yeah.
At home, but anybody can do it, but not everybody can do it a certain way. And I like the idea that my customers know if there's a problem with their laundry, they have my cell phone in my name. They can call me, and I'm going to make that right. If they're having issues, I can adjust things to fit their needs. They're not going to get laundry that's returned to them wet and wrinkled and all kind of way like what we experienced. Basically, our emphasis is on building good relationships with our customers, having that personal touch, and providing them the best quality and service that we can give them.
Yeah. Would you ever expand to other areas?
Yes. we want to expand. We're currently servicing the greater Charlotte area.
Mhm.
We don't go as far quite as like Concord or Huntersville, but most areas within Charlotte. But we definitely are looking forward to in the future expanding possibly beyond Charlotte, other areas of North Carolina. Yes.
Because let me tell you, I'm in Huntersville, and that's the one thing I hate, doing my laundry. IHATE capitalize and exclamation. But when I do it, I'm very detailed. So when the dryer stops, I'm right there because I have to put it on the hanger because I will not take I don't like it crushed, right? So it'll if I don't take it out at the same time, I put it on the dryer again for another time. And then I put it on the dryer and I do it on the dryer again, just so it's not all wrinkled, right? But oh my God, I'm such a stickler for my laundry just being, and I worked in retail for 25 years, right? So when it comes on to folding clothes, I am an expert in folding, right? And the worst thing is to see somebody just pick up the t-shirt and just like wrap it over their hand. Even when I go to the store and I purchase, something and the clerk just wrapped it, I'm like, nope, I'll take it. I'll do it. Because there's a certain way to wrap the pants, there's a certain way to fold the shirts. And I mean, I can do the air fold and everything, but man, I'm telling you. So if there's an audience here in Huntersville for you, Mr. Brewington. I just wanted you to know that. But thank you for sharing that. Chef Chloe, same question for you. What is it that makes you stand out? And I know you talked about during the pandemic, trying to be able to reach people with your meals and seeing your aunts and your mom. But what was it that made you say, you know what, I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to make this something that I can do for my community and turn it into a business?
So for me, I am a stickler with building flavors. I will tell you that. Like I like to build flavors, but I don't like it to be very, very salty. So I have like a seasoning line that I utilize, and I notice when I don't have my own seasoning, the food becomes salty to my clients. I can't just mix it up with like something that I think, which I can, but they're used to like their unique taste and the flavor of the seasoning that I utilize because I take my time. I mix it up. I do what I need to do. It's not salty like overly sodium wise, but I like to build flavor. So one day I was in the kitchen. I built like this seasoning, ended up like tasting phenomenal. My dad is very picky with like his food and his seasoning as he's getting older. So that was like one of the things, like making sure that he has something that he can utilize. My friends with high blood pressure, like myself, just everybody in general, making it good food doesn't have to taste bland. Right. So that was one of the things that I kind of like, okay, I got this. And what really made me like put my stamp in the market is I used to sell these things called seafood boils, and I just redid those like a week ago. And I had this sauce. Now the sauce that I have is very different. Like everybody tries to like imitate it, but there's a trick that I put into it that they wouldn't think that's in it. So realistically, when that happened, I'm gonna be honest, the amount of money that I made and how many people were coming back, I'm like, golly, I don't need a job. I don't need to do this anymore. I can do this for myself. I made that much.
Yeah.
So, I think that's kind of like what it was. I feel like that building flavor. I feel like that we in my demographic, we look at soul food as something that isn't healthy for us. We look at soul food as something that is not necessarily good for you, but all comfort food, I feel like comfort food should be comforting. Yeah. And not send you to the emergency room. Right. So I think like me putting my stamp on with how I build the flavor, how I take this and cut this corner, but you won't see the corner that was cut, and give you like, I can make you the fanciest green beans out of 2 ingredients. So I just think that what made me really put my stamp on and be like, hey, I'm going to do this is the seasoning.
Yeah.
So
and you know that's a gift. that is a gift in itself. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people that don't know how to season right. I'm from the islands, right? So we never, my parents never bought seasoning. We get some thyme, some rosemary, some allspice, some black peppercorn, and we just put it all together, chop it up, da 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 da, scallion, onion, thyme, da 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 da, and we make this marinade thing that is incredible, right? So season is not really something that we used to buy. We just pick it and did it, right? And then sometimes in Jamaican food too, they add a little sugar here or there, or a little bit of coconut milk here or there, and then the flavor just it just explodes in your mouth, right? But a lot of times that's a gift to know what to put together to make it so unique as well, right? So probably, and I know you're thinking this already, having this whole seasoning line, because that's just
I have it on my, I have some on my, I used to make a whole lot of it at one point. But I kind of went back into the job market about a year and a half ago. Yeah. So it kind of like slowed down because I wasn't consistent. So I've been using the Fashion Nova effect lately. That's what I call it. Yeah. Where you push. Yep. Either you're going to see it or you're going to mute me. That's how I've been thinking. So lately I've been a little bit more consistent with that. I just made like a whole big old container. Nice. Like about this big, so I can fill bottles and jugs, and that's actually what I'm going to be pushing more in May. Yeah, I need to get a bottle. I got you. I got to get some new labels. I got you.
That is fantastic. I love that. I love all this conversation because I'm talking to 3 different people in 3 different industry, right? But it's all entrepreneur, BIPOC entrepreneurs, which is amazing. How did you all connect with the Boost Pad? So I want to hear the Boost Pad story, right? How did you guys connect with the Boost Pad, and why is the Boost Pad so important now more than ever? And guess who is on? Stephen Lewis. Great to see the Boost Pad founders put in. Yay! Awesome. We're so happy to have you, Stephen. We're happy to have you. All right. So that question is for you. Hey, cousin. Nice to see you. Thank you for jumping on. And I want to say hello to Gayo. He is watching all the way from Kenya, by the way. Nice to see you, sir. All right. So the question is, how did you connect with the Boost Pad, and why is the Boost Pad so important in this day and age? And I'm going to start with Chef Chloe and come back in the other way around.
My story is God. That's all I'm going to say. So I had literally, Demetrius and most of y'all know Demetrius and Dante are my closest friends. We all kind of like moved down here from Virginia together. Okay. So we had this pact this year for me to be a lot more consistent in Charlotte and get me out there in Charlotte, because I feel like this is my safe place. So I run back to Virginia to like cook and do stuff. So Demetrius said, friend, anytime I see like some networking events or some things that we should do, I'm going to invite you. So I'm like, okay. So I had a crazy work schedule, right? I'm going to tell you, it's going to get to how it's God. I had a crazy work schedule where I was working from 1:30 to 10:10, right? Mm-hmm. The day before, I was invited to the Boost Pad, like kind of like meet and greet to like for y'all to share, whatever. I went to the hospital. And I was like exhausted. It was like a lot of anxiety from my job. And I remember praying earlier that week, God, just show me. I don't care how you do this, but just show me that I need to take my business a little bit more serious because I'm being lazy, right? I wasn't specific though, right? So that's, I got to remember, I'll be trying to be specific. So Demetrius called me that day. He was like, friend, it's something that's at 6:00. Can you make it? I'm like, oh yeah, I got time today. So I go, right? And I'm looking around and I call my mama. I always ask my mama for clarity. She was like, you want to do it? And as I'm talking to her, she sends me the money because I'm like talking to her about it. She was like, do it, this for you. And I'm like, my mother never not asked me any questions, right? So she was like, I feel like you should do it. So I feel like with the Boost Pad, what got me to the Boost Pad is God. And like I talk about you guys all the time because it's made me super consistent. Yeah. It's made me look into everything that I thought I was doing right in my business. I wasn't doing right.
Wow.
Everything that I thought that I should be doing or have done, or I was doing this, y'all have shown me anything, and I brag about it all the time. I'm like, if y'all entrepreneurs and y'all want to get into something, I'm gonna put my name behind it. Like, do that, pay that money. The amount of information that they're gonna give you, it should be worth millions. Like, do it. So how I got to the Boost Pad is I'm gonna say God, and I thank God every day for the platform that you all are giving entrepreneurs, because it's amazing.
Wow.
So many gigs from being consistent, taking you all's advice. I follow you on social media, so I see how you do stuff. Like, I've been on set with celebrities. I've been to Tyler Perry Studios. I was at my HBCU as a speaker and doing a demo. So I just say that I thank God for allowing me to be with people that give everybody the knowledge and the gems that you all have.
Wow. 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 That's amazing. That is amazing. Thank you so much for that. Stephen also said that Paul Prudhomme, he's known as K Paul, made more money selling spices than selling food in restaurants. So that's for you with the spices girl, because that's a rinse and repeat. That's an easy money making thing, right? And if you can sell that online. That's like a sleep, your eyes closed, and you can sell that. All right, Mr. Brewington, how about you? Same question. How did you connect with the Boost Pad, and why is the Boost Pad so important to our community and to Black entrepreneurs, Black and Indigenous people of color, and women?
So I think everybody by now knows my wife, Tamika, teaches the mental health in business course for Boost Pad. So I kind of had Boost Pad on my radar for a few years now.
Yeah.
And I think I went to, it was either the Cohort 6 or Cohort 7 pitch night. Yes. And it was very interesting to me. I'd never been to anything like that before. And kind of a little bit shifted my understanding of what Boost Pad is and what Boost Pad does. And shortly after that, Steven sent out the email. I think was because of her connection, but I got it too. And I felt like when I got that, God spoke to me and told me, you need to do this.
Listen, we hear God a second time. I'm loving this. Steven, are you still there? I mean, I love it. That is amazing. And what do you think about the program? Like, what do you think how does it benefit you, Mr. Brewington?
The program's amazing. The first thing that jumped out at me was the skill sets and the tool sets that we're being provided with. We're having lawyers teach us about business law. We're having bankers teach us about business banking. We're having professional accountants teach us about accounting. And these are skills I didn't have. And, you can hire somebody to do it, but it's good to have a working knowledge of it yourself. If you're at the end of the day, you're the one running the business, it comes down to you. So to me, that skill set was amazing, but also just the connections that we've made. Something Steven said, I think it was the first or the second session. He is about getting people that look like us in the room with people that look like him, which is to say Black and Indigenous and women entrepreneurs being in a room with, I don't want to stereotype, but
white people.
And I've met these people that I would in no way have had an opportunity to meet had it not been for Boost Pad, and it really just changed my outlook on my business. I felt like my business was going to be successful, but I felt like this Boost Pad challenged me to take it to another level, because they're equipping us with such amazing tools and introducing us to such amazing people. It just made a great impression on me.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic. Artia?
Yeah, so I feel like the irony of all of this is that I'm just glad that we're kind of on a live where everybody understands the emotion and the movement and the feeling that God can really put on your life if you surrender to what he's asking for you to do. Yeah. And so, that gave me chills. Sorry. But for me personally, I was happy. I'm just gonna say I was happy working my tech job, coming home to my man cooking, watching my TV, chilling on the couch. I was happy. I was fine. But, you know, being in the tech space, I always got a download from God saying, you need to do this thing. And for really quick, like Tech Trap's mission is it's pretty much an community-based organization that's dedicated to creating equitable representation and inclusion within high tech and emerging tech. And as a girl from the South, that is a big mission to take on by yourself. And so I think the one thing I always pray for, and I still do, is the boldness to just be me and do me in every space that I'm in. And so for me, finding the booth pad, because I'm an avid researcher, I do a lot of research. It's my job to stay aware of everything that goes on in Charlotte, from programs to initiatives. And so when I found the boost pad, I was like, you know what? Here we go again. We're going to do it. We're going to jump into it. We're going to have that boldness. We're going to have the audacity to kind of lean forward in this thing that God won't leave you alone about. He won't leave you alone. So here we go. And I think what BoostPad has done for me is allow me to experience the greatness of seeing everyone else be as bold in their mission and their objectives as well. And I think that's the best part, regardless of where this kind of leads me. The best part is listening to the story of a Chef Chloe saying, like, I started this during the pandemic and really pushing forward to moving to Charlotte and taking the bold steps to, you know, come down here and find my way. Or listening to Brewington say, well, you know what, we've, you know, had laundry services, but we felt like we could do it better. And so just having that energy around you really fuels you to push forward, because entrepreneurship is not easy and it can be lonely. Right. But seeing people do their thing or hold their mission dear is the best thing you could be a part of, for sure.
Yeah. And isn't there a sense of confidence? Like among, you know what I mean? You go to the classes on Wednesdays and, you know, you get all of this knowledge poured into you, whether you know some of it or not, or, you know, if you have never had it. Like I remember when we did the business model canvas, and there were so many questions around it, because you start to think, do I have one of those, right? Do I have the simple one-page thing that shows me, you know, how to run my business from a simple form in terms of what comes in, what goes out, who are my people, what's my, right? And these are the things that we're equipping our entrepreneurs with, because a lot of times, especially in the Black community, entrepreneurs go into business because of the passion that they have for something, right? Chef Chloe, I love cooking for people. I love making my spices. This is what I want to do. Some people are hairstylists, nail tech, bakers, and these people truly have this gift, right? And so because they can make some money, they go into it. But from a business perspective, don't know all the fundamentals, right? And the foundational thing. And that's what I love with what the BoostPad provides for the average person, right? And not only...
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, it goes back to what you said about it being a gift to know what to put together. I like when you said that, but I feel like it's only a gift when it's in the right packaging, with the right bow, with the right price, with the right. And so I think.
And positivity. Positivity plays a big role, because I can always tell when I'm frustrated, when I am stressed, when I'm overwhelmed, I go remove myself, because you can taste it in the food.
Yep. But I feel like the Boost Pad kind of acts as that packaging, that gift wrap, that bow, to help bring your gift, you know, in public eye and figure out how to deliver it the right way.
Yeah. And it's so funny because, you know, as a woman who spent 25 years in a job or a corporate world or whatever you call that, right? And now this is my 8th year in entrepreneurship. I have both sides of it, right? And then I bootstrapped my business. And when I went into my business, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I could coach people, and I knew I could help people write a book, right? And I'm going to do this thing, right? with absolutely no understanding of anything. I had no idea what a business model canvas was until 3 years ago, right? Because I just didn't know, right? So the Boost Pad provides that kind of things for entrepreneurs. I love it. Um, Now, I hear you talk about technology, Artia. I hear you talk about the laundry, Mr. Brewington, and I hear Chef Chloe talk about the season in line. And then when I look at all these three area, one is the food vertical, which we have. One is high tech, high growth, high tech. And then Mr. Brewington, you are in like this the other vertical that we have is Main Street businesses, right? But it is amazing because no matter where you are in an area of business, the Boost Pad has the foundation to help entrepreneurs do what they need to do. I want to ask this other question. What is the long-term goal for you guys in your business? What's the long-term goal? And I think I have a question for Artia from a viewer. He said, I'd like to know what Artia did before the pandemic and why tech. Asking as someone who has been on tech before and after the pandemic, and the experience has been meh.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, this is a weird question to answer, but I'm going to answer it in two parts because the other part is just as important. So as I said before in my introduction, I actually dropped out of college. I had the idea that I was going to go back to work at a place that I interned at, which was actually the Department of Social Services when I got out of high school. Obviously, out of high school, I didn't have no experience. They're going to be like, girl, you ain't get no job here. So I took that time to kind of build up my experience and just kind of get like some real world experience. So that was actually my dream job at first, working as a caseworker, a social worker at the Department of Social Services, mind you, with no bachelor's degree, which was required at the time for me to hold that spot. And I would say probably 2.5 years into that, I think I just got tired of rolling up to the same desk every single day, popping in my earbuds, allowing the day to pass me when I felt like I had more creativity and more ideas and more to kind of give the world that I feel like I was letting waste. And so from there, with no plan, no idea, no nothing, I was like, okay, here we go again. God lead me to another space. And so, luckily before the pandemic started, I was kind of on an initiative to help high school and college age students find alternatives because that was a problem area for me, to find alternatives to college. And in that, doing the work, doing the research, kind of collaborating with other grassroots organizations, I found out about Road to Hire and I learned their mission. Now, for me, tech, like I said, has always been a part of my everyday life. It was something I was always helping either like my team members with, my mom with, my grandmother with. They're like, come here, young girl. I know you know something about this. Come here, help me. And so when I found out about that, for me, it was like, why would I deny myself of the possibility to see myself in a space that has been fruitful for everyone else? And so that's what pushed me to take that leap. Now, I will say 5 years into being here, I think it's important for everybody who's making a transition into tech to understand that it's not about what you see on TikTok when people are going to lunch and dinner and traveling and, doing all of the excursions and having this, really high paced job. It really is about taking your talent, your uniqueness, and bringing it to the table, whether that's as a founder or within a company. And so I find a lot of people getting into this space, having been sold all these ideas, saying, maybe it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have pretty much like the determination to stay in that space when you get in it, and not be too stressed out or burnt out, and allow yourself to kind of leave that space.
Yeah. And I also believe that, I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Okay.
Hopefully I answered his question.
Yeah. He said, wow. And I also think that too. You got it, girl. And I also think too, the tech space is something that has always been here, and it's now more profound. And instead of being afraid of it, is understanding it and utilizing it to benefit you and your business.
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing about tech.
I would say to second that though, I feel like the pandemic was like a perfect storm, right?
Mhm.
Because you had so many people at home, and I felt like a lot of companies were gearing up for a lot of digital services, a lot of digital interactions with people. And so you saw a lot of hiring in that space. You also saw a lot of technical programs sprouting up that kind of took people from industries that had nothing to do with tech and training them to get into those spaces.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because this was something that I experienced in real time, I felt the evolution of education, because a lot of the times education was also synonymous with holding a degree. And I think what we're seeing is kind of the decentralization of education, where now you can hop online and learn pretty much anything. You know, I'm actually trying to teach myself robotics, and I literally created a curriculum for myself using artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And so I think that perfect storm is what we're going to need to continue to move forward. So I'm pushing everybody that's in tech, like, look, don't be sitting ducks, because as you're sitting and enjoying your space, someone is kind of thinking about, like, how can I automate what this person is doing?
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to use those things to move forward.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. To my next question, long-term goal for your business. And I'm going to start with Chef Chloe.
For me, my long-term goals. So I definitely want to eventually have like a brick and mortar that my mother runs, because she needs something to do in retirement. I want to build a seasoning line, and I want to be able to give back to other chefs that need the knowledge, the understanding. Like I tell people all the time, I'm a girl's girl, or I'm the friend, because I always want to like give people the knowledge to be able to help them to grow and to scale their business. So I have this thing for chefs. So I want to be able to give them everything that they need, because it is a very intimidating field. Cooking can be very intimidating to a lot of people. So I want to be that face behind that brand that shows you that the simple 30-minute meals can feel like it's the best cuisine that you've ever tasted. So realistically, what I say is I give myself realistic goals. So I have 3, 6, 3, 6, and 12 is how I do my life. But lately I've been pushing them a little bit further to 1, 3, and 5. So I'll say by the time I hit the 5 mark, that I will probably have I'm not, because we're to power. I'll have my brick and mortar. I'll have a successful seasoning line that is in kitchens all around the world, and that I will be in a mental space that I'm happy. I'm still loving it. It never feels like a job, because when I cook, when I'm in my space, when I'm cooking for my friends, when I'm cooking for my family, when I'm cooking for anybody, I love to do it. So that it'll still be a passion, and I'll still have the drive, and everything that I put on my list, that it just get marked out gracefully, because everything I always ask God for, I get, because he don't play on me.
No, I love it. And, you know, you talked about your seasoning line, and then the Holy Spirit just dropped sauces in my spirit. So as you're thinking about your seasoning,
I have sauces and salad dressings, actually.
there you go. There you go. I see. I did not know that, but the Holy Spirit dropped the sauces in me. So seasoning, sauces, salad dressing, right? Don't leave those out. The Holy Spirit would not have given me sauces if he didn't know you could do it. And then start thinking about workshops, right? How can you bring together people that have an interest in cooking, young people, college student that are in cooking schools or in some type of school who wants to cook and do workshops, right? Workshops and courses, right? Those are things that you can also monetize.
You know what's so crazy is that you said that, because I had a group of people ask me, can I do a cooking class for them?
There
So
you
when I
go.
offered it like a year, like when we could go back outside,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was supposed to get this ticket. And it was like inexpensive. It was like $65. We could have did it on Zoom. Some people we could have been in person, and like everybody dropped a ball. And like I tell people all the time, don't wait till I'm popular to support me, right? It was
Yeah.
super inexpensive. But I have built like this neighborhood of business professionals with one of my friends who does very good at marketing. So we kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. He gives me like, he comes up with the most craziest ideas, but they work.
Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking about at the end of August, doing like a mommy and me, or my family and I.
Yeah.
I thought about that, my family and I, cooking class,
Yeah.
and just offering it to the masses. If you can attend on Zoom, I mean, you can attend on Zoom or you could attend live. I'm thinking about taking it to like 3 cities that I'm really, really popular in, and kind of like making that a big thing.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely working on a workshop. Believe it or not, people don't believe me when I say it, but I am kind of like shy when it comes to my business. And I
Yeah.
shouldn't be, because I have a very bold and like kind of, I got this attitude, but like I feel like in my 30s, that's what my business is called, A Taste of My 30s, because I'm getting different flavors of me that I didn't get in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I am very shy. So when it comes to my business, I'm kind of like, okay, I don't want to offend nobody because I don't want to lose any money, or I don't want to say this, but I don't want to also seem like a yes man too, because I feel like I give a lot of breaks. And that's one of the things that I need to focus on.
Yeah.
And my goals is, all money is not good money, and people need to pay your price and stop allowing them to negotiate you, because you are great.
Yeah. And I love to say, right, that whenever you're in the space, that's why it's so important to get all the knowledge in the world in the space that you are in. I am a forever student. I leave tomorrow to go to Denver, Colorado for a publishing conference that they have every year. It's a big conference. It's like a 4-day conference. And it is every like independent publisher and writers and publishing companies. So Amazon, BookBaby, Lulu, all of them, the what do you call it? The big publishing companies, some of those guys are going to be there. People who turn books into movies, they're going to be there. So I look forward to going to these conferences every year, because the more I learn about what I'm offering people is the more I have authority, right? And that's the most important thing. When you can walk in your lane of expertise, in authority, no other car can overtake you. No car can come in your lane, right? So just learn all you can about your lane, right? About your niche, about who you are called to serve, about the gift and skills and talents and treasures and learned and lived experiences that you have, and just make that your authority. Nobody can touch you, because nobody can make a seasoning like Chef Chloe. Nobody can make those sauces and those salad dressing like you, because you got a secret sauce, you got a secret recipe, right? And so the same thing for you, Artia, to be able, to be able to go into tech and provide it. Whatever you do in tech, make sure you are teaching others who want to learn, right? So find the 30s and the 40s and the 50-year-olds. Listen, don't leave them out, right? Because it's not your 90s baby. People like me who are uncomfortable, right? How can you help us navigate this new chapter and be excited about tech and robotics, right? Right. And so, and then Mr. Brewington, you have a service that busy professionals need, right? Because we don't want to do it. We do not want to do it. So that's my question to you, Mr. Brewington. What is your long-term goal for your business?
Much like Chef Chloe, we're wanting get to where we can have a brick and mortar location. Right now, we're basically just starting out, so we're using other like laundry companies or laundromats facilities to wash clothes. We would eventually like to start our own brick and mortar, with the final idea being a sort of boutique laundry experience.
What?
So you could come, it'd be a nice fancy location. You could come in, you could have a glass of wine while you're washing your clothes, or get some hot food, TV, music, different forms of entertainment, video games, just to have, it's not just washing your clothes, it's an experience.
I love that. That is an incredible idea. And I don't know if there's one out there. So I need you to write that down. I need you to trademark that somewhere. I need you to get like a copyright on that. That is a fantastic idea. Because when you think of laundromat, you think of a place that nobody wants to go. Steven said, can we get a counseling session? Maybe your wife, at 5 p.m., 5:30 can do a counseling session there too. That is hilarious. But that is a fantastic, I love that. I love that concept. Oh my goodness. And there are areas that would be ideal for that. I think right now Valentine, and I think like Birkdale, where, because there's sometimes, like, I know, like, there's sometimes when I have huge things like comforters that can't wash in your thing. But if you go to a laundromat with this big machine, or you drop it off somewhere, you know what I mean, and they can do that. I would love to go in a place where I can get a glass of sparkling cider, because I do not drink, right? So a glass of sparkling cider for me, and I can listen to some music, right? That would be fantastic. Oh my God, I love it. That's I love that goal. I love that goal. Please make sure that you're copywriting that, because that's unique and that's different. Mm-hmm. And that is a point of difference in terms of what others provide. Arte, same question for you. What's your long-term goal for this business that you have?
Yeah, definitely. But really quick, for Mr. Brewington, I wash clothes at home, but if you provide that, I'm coming to you. I'll bring my clothes.
If you can pick mine up, I'm with it too.
Exactly. Yeah, but for me, it's all the things that we talked about, right? So for me, long term, I want to remain in my goal, or in my lane, as you suggested. And I also want to bring my own flavor, my own sauce, my own seasoning to the tech space. And so for me, our mission is to make sure that we're creating equitable learning experiences and moving people into emerging tech. So my goals are directly in line with the KPIs, how I know I'm doing my job. And so for me, the biggest thing is inclusion, right? So my company slogan is "The future is inclusive," because it will be. And so for me, how I know that's happening is, at once my peers would come to me and say, I'm really glad I'm in the tech space, but I feel like there's no space for me, right? Whether that's at a team meeting, or you're having like a team game outing, and maybe there just isn't like a lot of representation, or there's not like the music that you like to listen to, or there's not the food that you like to have at functions. So for me, when we're doing like the 2 to 3 hour classes, or we're doing like a 6 to 9 month course, I'm bringing all of those elements, because one of the things I understand, no matter what racial group you're a part of, everybody loves hip hop music to some degree. Yeah. And so whenever I'm doing that, I make it a mission to play that music, and I make it a mission to have some good food. Yeah. And, create that comfortability for people of all groups, because nobody's excluded. I would say the other one is innovation, right? So being a Charlotte native, one of the things I will say is that Charlotte is hyper focused on fintech and insurtech, which are both great industries, billion-dollar industries.
Right.
But we have space to create more. Like even in May of this year, we'll be hosting like our first hackathon that actually focuses on agricultural technology.
Nice.
So what this looks like is bringing someone who's a software engineer or a product manager or whatever space that you're in tech and saying, hey, let's give you all the tools, the mentorship, the references, anything you need, and let's push you to be creative in this industry so that you can see that it is probable for you to be here.
Yeah.
By the way, that's an industry that's estimated to be about $32 billion worth in 2030.
Yeah.
So that's a part of the future. And I would say the last one for me, even though this isn't, it's long and short, right? Because your team is ever evolving. So for me, another goal of mine is to ensure that I have the right team. And so for me, with the right team and the right people in my corner, kind of helping me build this thing out, I know that we'll definitely have some impact for people who need this type of experience, whether you're 25 or 44 or 33 or 52, it doesn't really matter, because all of these emerging technologies are going to affect everyone moving forward. And so everybody's going to be needed to make this as inclusive as possible. So.
Absolutely. That is great. Last question as we wrap up this session. First of all, you guys are amazing and great conversation. So my last question to each of you, and you can, whoever wants to go first, is for those people that are watching now or are going to be watching the replay, or when you get this replay, you can share it to your platform, because I wanted you guys to share it on your social media platforms. For those who might be watching and standing on the edge, or on the brink of, should I start my business? I have this gift. I love this thing. Here's this thing, sewing, crocheting, whatever it is. I want to be able to start a business. Why is now an important time for them to jump in?
Well, I can start just because one of my goals with Tech Trap COT is to get people to see, or get like the technical professionals that come through us to be emboldened to kind of start their own venture. So a lot of times when I talk about what Tech Trap COT is or what it does, people often associate it to workforce development. But for me, it's a little bit more than that. It's pushing people to spaces like the Boost Pad or like Launch COT to kind of find a space where they can cultivate their own ideas within tech. And so for me, from that standpoint, now is a perfect time because we're seeing a lot of new technology come to surface that's making it essentially easier for someone who once had an idea to bring that about in real time. And so more and more, it's becoming less and less of an excuse as to why you shouldn't do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, someone needs what you have somewhere.
Exactly.
And so with the evolution of technology, I think people are going to start to have more of a backing to see those things come out and to roll out in real time. So, you don't really have anything to lose.
No excuses.
Just do it.
Mr. Brewington, how about you? What would you want somebody to take away if they're on the edge and they're like, oh my God, should I really do this business thing?
Now is the time. Now is always the time. The only thing standing between you and success is you.
Amen.
And you can look at it. You can be your biggest cheerleader, or you can be your own worst enemy. And one of the things I've learned from starting a business is to be my own cheerleader, to challenge myself, to be a better entrepreneur and a better person, to learn skills that are difficult or not comfortable for me. Like a business is not just a business, it's a challenge and a chance for you to find out who you are as a person and to bring the ideas which you have, which are valid ideas, to the public, because like Arte said, somebody needs your business. Somebody needs what you're doing.
Well said.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Chef Chloe. That's your new name now. That's what I'm going to call you going forward. I love it. I love it.
Well, everybody else calls me Chloe, so you can too. It's fine. So I would tell entrepreneurs out there, like I have a lot of friends who's in entrepreneurship, and I would just say this: entrepreneurship is not what it looks like on Instagram. is not what it looks like on social media. There are going to be sleepless nights. There are going to be some times where you're going to have to say, hey, God, I trust you. I don't want to say but I'm going to trust you. It's not a steady schedule. It's not a steady schedule because your brain might be working at 4 a.m. and you got to write this down before you forget it, or you got to take a screenshot or something in your phone because you don't want to miss this information. But I always say a loser is someone who never tried.
Yeah.
And then if you try it and you fail at it, take it as a learning lesson. Don't always take it as a defeat. I've been fortunate enough to have the mindset where I've been able to pay attention. And then also with entrepreneurship, it's okay to be the student. A lot of people want to be the coach. They want to be the teacher. They want to lead. Like the only way for you to be able to succeed in any genre that you're in, like you just said earlier, any genre that you're in, you have to be the student. You have to listen. You have to take your peers that's in your industry or that's been in your industry or used to be in your industry. If it helped them be successful, listen to what they're saying, tweak it to your own, and make it yours so that it's successful in your business. The only thing that I really, really, really want my generation of entrepreneurs to understand is Instagram is not what it seems like for entrepreneurship. Those people have put in the work, the tears, the hours, the sweats, the prayers, the long nights, the sleepless nights, the missing the time with their family, the like all of the negative stuff that comes with those beginning 5 years of your business. They're now showcasing that. So do not think that it's gravy, because it's not. It's not a taste of nobody's 30s in the beginning.
Right.
So I just say, just do it. A loser is someone who didn't try, and then you lose when you don't learn and you don't allow critiquing people, criticism. Don't always think it as someone is hating. I feel like that word is overly used. Oh, these people hating on me. No, you probably really do have trashy work. And they're just critiquing you, but you're taking it as they're hating. Right. So I would just say, keep going. Just do it. The time is now. There's so many programs. Like the best one out there is the Boost Pass. So go ahead and utilize them and get the resources that we've been fortunate to have. And just the time is now. Just do it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. Thank you. All three of you. Thank you so much. And I think in just wrap up, one of the things I want to say is that growth starts at the end of comfort, right? You can never grow in a place that you're comfortable. Growth is a stretch. And the only time growth starts is when you have made up in your mind that I am okay with being comfortable, because then that's where growth starts, right? And as you said before, Chef Chloe, that sacrifice, right? Everybody that's an entrepreneur has to go through a level of sacrifice, right? Sacrifice their health, sacrifice family, sacrifice their money, sacrifice their time, whatever it is not for the faint of heart. And it has to be something that you believe in so much, because the role of the entrepreneur is to provide a solution to a problem and then get a return on that, because you can't work for no money, right? So it is something that you have that satisfy a need, a want, a desire, a problem, right? A solution. You have the solution to a problem, and in turn, you give them what they have so that you can reap the rewards or the benefit or the return on the investment. All right. So that is all the time I have today. I want to thank my esteemed guests for giving me an opportunity to talk to them. I want to thank my director, Stephen Lewis. He was on for a long time. I want to thank all of my guests that joined and made a comment. I want to thank the audience, those who will watch the replay, if not tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next month. Send a congratulatory message to these entrepreneurs who are doing the thing. We're super proud of them. The Boost Pad Cohort 8 entrepreneurs. May God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. And from the desk of Victorious You Press and the Boost Pad, this is goodbye until we see you again. God bless you. Peace out. And as I like to say at the end of every podcast, remember, the pen creates an indelible moment of time that can never be erased. So, Wright. God bless you. Peace out.
Thank you, Joan. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.